parents who are not equipped to have a special needs child, and a lot of parents aren't. I get that. There are people out there who are equipped and who do want to adopt these special needs child. So there's options, there's treatment, there's loving parents out there available.
Sure.
And the idea is, just because somebody's handicapped, we don't want to put them to death.
Oh, that is the courageous Ohio Representative John Becker on legislation that he co-sponsored. It disallows aborting babies who happen to have one extra chromosome, aborting them just because the kids have Down syndrome. So if Ohio Governor John Kasich signs this House Bill 135 into law, Ohio would be the second state in the country to enforce a ban like this. North Dakota had passed a similar bill. Joining me on the phone, thankfully, is the legislation's primary sponsor, Ohio Rep. David Hall. David, would you update us on House Bill 135 and give us more details? Because this is quite the unique bill. Help us understand.
Thank you, Governor Palin. Thanks for having me on. Yes, where we're at, we were able to pass the bill this spring out of committee with a bipartisan support, so that was a positive, in the positive direction. On this bill, we're looking, I would expect sometime in early October to have this bill on the House floor for an up and down vote. So we're getting a lot of positive movement moving forward on the bill, and at this time I expect we'll send it over the Senate sometime here in October.
I have read stats that show about 90% of babies in some areas that have that diagnosis of Down syndrome in utero. Those babies are aborted because I think a lot of families are scared of the unknown. And it's a pretty tragic stat when you consider that these are amazing, awesome kids. And the pro-life movement truly is a movement to protect, to save every innocent life. This certainly is pro-life legislation. Why do you think it is that it is facing such controversy?
Well, it comes down to this, Governor. When you're looking at you have the battle, and Ohio's been the battleground on a lot of the pro-life issues, and I think with this one we're reaching out and with this bill, it says in naming itself, it's the Ohio Down Syndrome Non-Discrimination Act. And what we're doing is basically saying it just disabled fetus, someone with a disability, should not be, they have rights. They also have rights. And, we have rights for when they are born, when they are disabled in Ohio. And we feel that this bill just basically seeks to right the wrong that's been blatantly practiced in Ohio for years.
Well, personally speaking, I know that these children can teach us a lot more than the world can probably ever teach them. They are quite valuable. That's my personal opinion on it. Now, as for other people's opinions on it, Governor Kasich, granted, maybe I haven't done enough research on his position on this, but I haven't heard from him on this bill. Do you think he's going to sign it into law if it gets there?
Well, I applaud all the work the governor has done on the pro-life issues. I mean, we've sent many bills to the governor, and he has signed them. And, typical of the governor, he's going to wait and see the process and make sure that some amendment doesn't add to something that would blow up the bill. And so, what we've sent to him and what has passed the House and Senate, and he has not vetoed or not turned his back on pro-life issues. So, I have not talked one-on-one with the governor on this very issue, but I expect we'll be talking.
Okay, good. That's encouraging. Do you think then that your bill and the success that you and your pro-life colleagues were working so hard on this, the anticipated success, do you think it's going to help other states do the right thing in protecting innocent life and giving these kids a chance?
No doubt. I mean, it's amazing, just as you stated, Governor, I mean, the blessing of these children. I mean, they have blessed. I have constituents in my district, and the blessings and the stories I've heard. I mean, I think this this is an opportunity when Ohio passes this bill, and I expect other states will come along. And yes, someone will say it'll be a challenge, like they say, well, you shouldn't put a bill that needs to be challenged. It will be challenged, but that's what we need to do. We need to move forward, and I expect other states will follow along with Ohio's lead.
Oh, good. Go Ohio. You particularly being one to give voice to the voiceless in this case. What can those who understand the special needs community and part of that community, what can we do to help?
I think it's education. I mean, when we were in committee and before the committee, I testified, and that we brought people along, parents came in and had the opportunity to tell the story and basically educate us all. I mean, it was amazing the information we received as legislators, and I would ask the parents out there to reach out to your legislators throughout the nation and discuss this issue with them. And it's amazing how many members were a no vote came yes after just a little education process.
Yeah, help those lawmakers to understand, as you're saying, and help families who are in maybe perceived less than ideal situations, conditions, circumstances when they find out that their child would have Down syndrome. Help them to not be afraid of the unknown. I think that those who are already a part of the special needs community can certainly contribute to that. Now, Ohio has been interesting, somewhat purple when it comes to some pieces of specific pro-life legislation, because activists on both the pro-life and the pro-abortion sides very, very active. With the bill, as you say, coming out of committee in the House, now what is next for it? What are these steps?
Yes, up to the Speaker of the House, Cliff Rosenberger, has the opportunity to bring the bill onto the House floor anytime now. It's been referred to the floor of the House, and I have a title in Columbus as a legislator. I'm chairman of all chairmen of the committee, so I have an opportunity to scoot the bill along with that title. And I expect that sometime, like I said, when we get back from recess, we will. This will be a priority bill to be voted out of the House.
Well, what a worthy cause that you are putting your efforts towards. Thank you for doing that on behalf of other Americans who do care about the sanctity of life. And the vulnerable certainly do need that voice. Many voices are needed. So thank you for bringing attention to the issue. Thank you for recognizing how really unique and amazing these kids are. And thank you for fighting for what is right by these babies and families. Thank you, especially for joining us to explain more about it today. Thanks. Hey, those of us who live that firsthand, one thing that, how we like to think of it with a child with that one extra chromosome with Down syndrome, beautiful kids, we like to say, we won. My kid's got more chromosomes than your kid. We won. They're awesome kids. Next up, solutions. Yes, a real solution. How to save this great nation. Stay tuned for final thoughts.
Whether on the White House